The S4 suspension build has come quite a long ways. Starting completely stock, we installed a rear sway bar, subframe reinforcement, a front sway bar, and now proper coilovers. The final piece of the puzzle was some adjustable control arms, meaning we could finally dial in our alignment specs. This install took us quite a while. To wrap up the last episode, the car was finally in a position where I could drive it. The sense of fulfillment was fantastic, though it was slightly muddled by the fact that the car really didn't handle that well. And almost 100% of that is attributed directly to the fact that this car desperately needs an alignment. Today, we're going to make this car actually drivable. So let's talk about aligning a car. If you're like me and not an alignment expert, you're going to take your car to the shop to do this. Usually this is pretty easy. This car, however, is lowered and has an aftermarket suspension, making it a bit tricky. It's now only going to fit onto certain alignment racks. On top of that, some places won't even work on aftermarket suspensions, so it's really all about finding the right place.
Alignment time. Let's see if they actually do it. Ran into issues last time, so hopefully this time it goes just fine.
We ran into some trouble getting the TT aligned because it wouldn't fit on certain alignment racks. We did, however, find one place that could do it. I figured this would be easy then. This place was able to do the TT with its aftermarket suspension, so why couldn't it do this car? At this point, I wasn't even looking for a fancy alignment. I just wanted to drive the car again. After a bit of waiting and a little bit more for the work, I saw the car finally come back. I was then delivered some pretty interesting news. The car fit perfectly on the alignment rack. There were no issues getting their sensors hooked up, and they even started adjusting the alignment specs. But then, they stopped.
So long story short, that was about 3 hours I'm never getting back. Very frustrating. About an hour into it, they said that they needed to take the wheels off to work on the adjustable arms, and I was like, that's totally fine. Hour after that, they come back and tell me they can't do it because the car has spacers, even though they saw and acknowledged the spacers beforehand. Basically, it boils down to this. They could only legally adjust the toe of this car, which is good. Steering wheel lines up, but the camber is still off.
Now, I'm not really that surprised that they couldn't complete the alignment, given that their policy does say they don't work on cars with spacers. I did tell them ahead of time that the car had spacers on it, and they said that it shouldn't be an issue because they shouldn't have to take the wheels off. Halfway through their adjustment, they realized they were going to need to. So rather than putting everything back the way that it was, they just told me they were done at the half adjustment. Small issue though. There's quite a bit of rubbing from the passenger side now. Them not adjusting the camber basically made this side hit the fender whenever I turned. I didn't want to ruin my tires, and camber's easy to adjust, so I figured I'd give it a try. Thankfully, they gave me the measurements at where the car sits. From those, I could tell the passenger side had 1 degree more positive camber than needed. Thankfully, with these adjustable arms, it's really easy to change that. You just take the wheel off and shorten them a bit. Since I don't have an alignment rack, I can't perfectly measure the camber. My ground's not even level, so my method of measuring isn't even accurate. It is, however, consistently inaccurate, and because of that, we can measure an accurate change. Measure the car before shortening the arms, and then again after, and the change between the two is how much we've changed the camber. I was able to adjust it to the point where it was no longer rubbing. The steering wheel wasn't even crooked either. Not perfect, but more than good enough to hold us over. About a week later, I had managed to find a shop who was more than willing to do the alignment. Basically, a local German performance shop. Super cool guys, and I've worked with them before. These guys had some pretty rad cars here and some really cool projects going on. Definitely some cars I'd want to own in the future. I also actually got to see just why it's difficult to align a car that's this low. Just look at how little clearance there actually is getting this car onto a flat alignment rack. Imagine one that was higher in the air with a steeper incline. There would just be no way. Thankfully, however, this one worked just fine. This appointment happened to be in the middle of the week, so I really didn't have a lot of time to enjoy the car after I picked it up, but at that time, on that drive home, there was no other car I'd rather be driving. The suspension was so worth it.
Looking like it's going to be a pretty nice day today, so I'm hoping to get quite a bit done on all of the cars. As you can see by how bumpy it is in here, I think it's about time we work on dampening, because this is pretty damn harsh. Like, really harsh.
Setting damping is the final piece of this suspension puzzle. To set it how you like it, you need to drive the car and make adjustments, and you can't really drive it without a proper alignment. Today, however, we're good to go. Only issue is the weather can't make up its mind.
That kind of came out of nowhere.
I really do love living in the Pacific Northwest, and in a weird way, weather like this is honestly kind of fun to see. It keeps you on your toes. It's pretty wild how you can go from t-shirt and sunglasses weather to hailing in a matter of minutes. I will never get used to it, and I think that's half the fun. The good news is that when something like this happens, it generally passes through pretty quickly.
Random torrential hail. What the heck? I was literally wearing sunglasses about a minute ago.
While I drive back, let's take a second to talk about damping and my approach to changing it. Damping, dampening, people call it different things. Same idea though. Each of these coilovers has a knob on them that allows you to configure how they respond to bumps. You can make them stiff and you can make them soft, and changing that does affect grip and handling. My approach for changing this is going to be as follows. Drive the car on one of my favorite roads, one that I also intentionally picked because of the bumps that are on it. I intend to drive this car a lot, so I want to test it and set it up for roads that I know I'm going to be driving on. Every time we drive this road, this same exact route, we're going to come up with ideas for how we think we can improve it. I'm going to bring the car back, jack it up, and we're going to make the car harder or softer depending on what we thought we needed. Then we're going to go drive that same route again, doing the same exact thing. And we'll do this until we find a damping setting that we think can't be improved. And remember, all of this is opinions, so how I set my car up may not be how you set yours up. Since I had been driving the car for a week, I knew immediately one thing that I wanted to do. The suspension is 30-way adjustable, 15 clicks hard and 15 clicks soft. At this point, the car was too stiff. I set everything to max stiff just to see what it would be like, and honestly, I think that was a bit too much. Thankfully, that makes the first adjustment pretty easy. I split the difference and went 7 clicks softer, meaning we were good for test number 2. Coming in for pit stop 2, I think we overcorrected. I think we made it a bit too soft for my liking. I like my cars a little more on the stiff side, so I decided the best course of action was to split the difference again and go 3 clicks harder, then hop back on the road. I got a little carried away with this, to say the least. Something that was supposed to take only a couple hours ended up taking the entire day. But I don't think that was wasted time. In fact, I absolutely loved doing this. I drove this road and adjusted the suspension way more than I thought I initially would. Fine by me, because this car and this road is a fantastic combo. At the end of the day, after testing out as many layouts as I could realistically think of, I liked the car best 8 clicks stiffer than neutral. I felt this offered a good balance of the car being stiff enough to feel aggressive and soft enough to actually warrant driving it every day. Because like I said, this isn't a track car. This is a car that I want to enjoy, something I'm going to drive every day on back roads and normal roads. So this ended up being the best damping for my use case. Plus, it's super easy to change, so anytime we do take this car to the track or a road where we want it to be a little bit stiffer, it takes maybe 5 minutes to do that. All in all, I am so stoked with how this suspension feels. The car is indescribably planted compared to when I first bought it. Turn-in is direct, throttle response is amazing, there's hardly any body roll, and the car actually rotates. I genuinely think if you're on throttle in a corner, the car's gonna oversteer before it'll understeer. I figured this car would handle good, but no, it's excellent. This is a pretty big chapter closed for the B5S4. It's come quite a long ways, and if you've been following the series from the beginning, you probably know with my final intentions for the car, we're not even close to being done. In fact, there's some big things on the way for the car. I consider this suspension a preparation mod. Not only did it immediately improve the car, but it gave it far more potential. Potential to attack corners. Potential to inspire confidence while driving. Potential to be that much more engaging. But there's one other thing it gave it. Potential to handle the added horsepower of bigger turbos. And I definitely think that would be a fun future addition for this car. We do, however, have two other systems that I want to upgrade beforehand. Consider them stepping stones, but I think their stories deserve their own videos. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider dropping a like and subscribing for more. It's the best way you can help support me and my content. I've got a lot planned for this car, the TT, and the channel in the near future. So I hope you're as excited as I am. Either way, I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you again, have a wonderful day.